Hey everyone. My name is Shahid Ahmed, and I'm from Cyber Sapiens United LLP. That's also called as the Hackers Club. Today's video will be about Linux operating system. So let's see what is Linux actually. Linux, it was in 1991 Linux Torvalds developed the Linux kernel. So Linux is an open source operating system which was developed by Linus Torvalds, and then it was released on the internet and freely available for download and use. So unlike the other operating systems like Mac OS or Windows, the Linux is actually free and anybody can download it from the internet and use it. So there is no licensing required for it. And then it's an computer operating system, so as mentioned, and then it's an free and open source software, so that's also called as abbreviated as FOSS. And then it runs on nearly every hardware platform, so there is no restrictions for Linux to run. So probably almost in all the hardware platforms, the Linux is able to run. It's a heavily used. It's the Linux is actually heavily used for servers and systems with embedded processors. So in the sense, the server systems or the servers in the backend. So these servers are hosted on actual Linux systems. So because Linux is an open source tool or an operating system, people can actually customize it to their needs and then use it to however they see fit. So Linux is actually the fastest growing operating system. That's basically because the main reason being that this is an open source free software which anybody can download for free of cost, and there is no reason for purchasing any license to use it. So let's see what are the different popular Linux distributions. So there is Debian, and then Ubuntu, Fedora, and OpenSUSE, and as well as Red Hat. So Red Hat Linux is something it's a whole different company that has developed Linux or customized Linux into their own needs. So most of you have probably heard about the Red Hat certifications or Red Hat Linux. So that's probably it. And then let's see why Linux is powerful than any other operating system and why companies switch to Linux. So since it is open source in nature, so what is like when you buy a car, but you cannot see what's under the hood. Similar is the case when you use a Windows powered system. So obviously when you use a Windows operating system, you're not able to get in more deeply or get access to I mean the complete administration access or complete kernel access to your Windows operating system. Whereas Linux gives you this opportunity where you will be able to even customize the kernel and customize the whole operating system according to your needs or your design. And then it's secure in nature. So Linux versus Windows, which is the best. So Linux is actually more secure than Windows. So Windows, every now and then there will be some virus attacks or malware attacks on the Windows operating system, whereas Linux is actually a more secure system where viruses cannot penetrate its systems, and then can revive older computers. So Linux works with any system, even in an older version of Windows also can run Linux. So this is actually perfect for programmers because hardcore programmers prefer Linux over Windows. So Linux has the flexibility for which can be used by the programmers to their own needs. And then software updates. So Windows, there's no much faster Windows updates, whereas Linux has very frequent updates because it's an open source. There will be a lot of developers or develop a lot of technology enthusiasts who will be releasing new softwares or new versions of the Linux. And then the customization. So in Windows, there are very limited customization options, whereas Linux you can code whatever you want. You can completely uh, code your own Linux operating system, and then you can also host it on the internet or or upload it on the internet for other people to use that. So variety of distributions. So no other Windows flavors, but Linux there are many different kind of distributions. So in the previous slide we had you had seen a few types. So those are not only the five types that are there, but then there are a lot of n number of distributions which have been published over the internet. And then Linux is obviously free to use since it's an open source tool, unlike Windows, which you have to pay to get the license or or to get a genuine version. And then the since it has a better community support. So since there are a lot of open source blogs or developers and then forums where you can actually get help if you're stuck with any Linux operating system problems. And then reliability. So if you ever use Windows and Linux, you can feel the difference. So once you start using the Linux operating system and then you use the Windows side by side, you'll be able to understand what's the difference between these two, and you can also feel the reliability when using the Linux operating system. So then Linux is everywhere. So here, as you can see in this picture, so there are radio towers or hospitals, aeroplanes, cars, uh, taxis, bank servers. So maximum, 99% of these infrastructures they use Linux as a basis. So the most of the servers or the maximum servers the people or the industry use are based on Linux operating systems. So this is how Linux is actually compatible. So even on the satellites which they use, they are operated or coded over the Linux operating systems. So let's see what are the different job roles after you finish Linux certifications. So even at Cyber Sapiens, you will also be able to join for Linux certification courses. So you can contact us for the same thing. So let's see what are the job opportunities you'll be able to get once you complete the next certifications. So it's just not just one job type, one type of a job that you will be able to get into once you complete the Red Hat Linux certification. But there are several different job opportunities. So first, it'll be artificial intelligence or machine learning and deep learning. So you can also get into these fields, and then the cyber security field, Internet of Things that is called IoT, and then cloud computing, DevOps and system engineering, full stack developer, blockchain, virtual reality and augmented reality, software engineer or developer, edge computing, robotic process automation or RPA, and then system administration and network engineer. So once you have done or completed the Red Hat certification, so you are not just limited to one type of a job role. So with the Red Hat certifications, you will be able to get into different fields or different job roles that you are interested in. So it will be a lot of helpful in your career as well. So let's see the skills that companies need most in 2022. So the top five soft skills will be creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, and then emotional intelligence. And then top 10 hard skills. So these are the hardware skills or the hard skills. So blockchain, cloud computing, analytical reasoning, artificial intelligence, UX design, business analysis, affiliate marketing, sales, scientific computing, and then video production. So now let's jump into virtual machines. So let's see what actually is a virtual machine. So as the name implies, the name has a term called as virtual. So with this, you will be able to get a slight idea of what this can be. So virtual machine is nothing but it's a platform where it enables you to run different operating system on a same hardware device. So I'll explain it further in going further. So here, what is the benefits of a virtual machine? Using a virtual machine, let's see what are the benefits. So operational flexibility. So operate separate instances of multiple OS types. So over the virtual machine, as I had explained, it gives you ability to run different operating systems on a single hardware or hardware support. So that basically in the sense you will be able to run different operating system like Windows, Mac, Linux in a virtual machine on a single laptop. So you don't have to dual boot it or do those kind of things. You can just install a virtual machine and then use different operating systems by installing inside the virtual machine, and then reducing overhead. So run multiple virtual machines on the same underlying hardware, centralization, consolidate systems to simplify management, scalability, and then disaster recovery. Since a virtual machine they have a feature called as snapshots, where you can keep a backup of your operating system that you're using in case in the future ever there is a crash happen, a crash occurs or your operating system has been crashed or shut down suddenly. You will be able to restore the snapshots that you have taken before. So now let's jump into installation of VirtualBox and Kali Linux. So that will be the main topic of this video. So I'll just show you how you will be able to you'll be able to install the VirtualBox and then the Kali Linux operating system inside it. So here first you need to install a virtual box. So that is nothing but a virtual machine. So all you have to do is type in VirtualBox, and then you will be able to see the first link, that is the virtualbox.org, Oracle VM VirtualBox. Just click on it, and then you'll be able to see here. This is the VirtualBox page, or you can see there's a download option on the left side. So click on it, and then you'll be able to see here the VirtualBox 6.1.30 platform. So this is the latest version of the VirtualBox, and you can see there are different hosts that you can download the VirtualBox for. So there are Windows host, and then operating OS X, so that those are Mac operating systems, and then for Linux distribution. So people who have the Linux operating system has their primary OS, then they can also install VirtualBox into their Linux and then run Windows or whatever operating systems they want, and then Solaris host and then Solaris 11 IPS host. So there are different hosts. So let's say because I'm using Windows, I just click on Windows and it will directly give a download option. So I won't download the file since it's already installed. I'll just cancel this. And along with that, you will have to download another separate thing called as VirtualBox or Oracle VM VirtualBox extension pack. So here, the reason I'm saying to download this for, there is an extension here as well. So this is for supporting USB 2.0 and USB 3.0 devices, and then disk encryption, NVMe, and PXE boot for Intel cards. So this is an additional extension pack which will be useful on your Windows systems. So you can also there is only all supported platforms. You can just click on it and it will again give a save option. So you can just click on OK. So once this is done, so you can I'll just show you how to install the VirtualBox. It's pretty simple. So this is the VirtualBox which I have already downloaded. So you can just double click on it. It's just taking a little bit of time. Okay. So here you can see this is a normal any installation setup. So click on next, and then you can check the options. Click on next, and then I won't hit next because VirtualBox is already installed on my system. You can just click on next, and the VirtualBox, or the VirtualBox will be installed into your system. So once that is done, I'll just open the VirtualBox here. So I have already pinned it. So once you install, there will be a shortcut on your desktop which will be created, and then just ignore this part because I have already Kali Linux installed on it. So there will be as soon as you install the VirtualBox, so there will be an empty page, or that will be the home page of the VirtualBox. So next, what we have to do is we have to download the Kali Linux for Kali Linux operating system for VirtualBox. So what you have to type in the search bar on Google is kali.org. So this is the official website from Kali Linux distribution. So this is the web page. You can click on the download option here. Give it some time. Yep. So finally, the download after once you click on the download option, you will be redirected to this page. Here you can see there are two options. So one is the bare metal option, and then the other one is virtual machine. So let's not go into the bare metal version. Let's just click on the virtual machine so you can see what are the features that is available when you down install. The download Kali for virtual machines. So I'll just click on this part. It will read. Scroll down to the page where you can see there are two more options. So one is VMware and then VirtualBox. So these two are the different types of virtual machines that are available to use different operating systems on a host machine. So as I have already shown you how to install the virtual box, so I will just go with the downloading for virtual box. So VMware has a bit of more steps, so which I won't be covering. So I'll just show you. You know, there are three options here. So this is a sum, and then torrent and the download option. So the download option is the regular download that happens on your browser, and then torrent, it's a torrent file that you will be able to download it using a different torrent applications. So we'll just you can click on any one of your own choice. So I'll just click on this. It will give me the option to save the file. So this file is actually OVA format. So that is the Open Virtualization Format Archive. So for VirtualBox we use OVA format, and then for VMware we use ISO format. So I won't save this version, so because I've already installed it and it's also a 3.7 GB file, so it'll take a lot of time. So I'll just cancel it. So once it's downloaded, so it'll be something like this. So this is an older version, so you can see here it's mentioned 2021.1, and then the current latest version is 2021.4. So there won't be any major changes except for some bug fixes, so not to worry. So once the Kali OVA file has been downloaded, you go back to the virtual box, the virtual box page, and then here you can see you have to click on the tools option, and then you will have a different options here on the top. So you can either click on import or add, and then new. So let's just click on import, and then go to the file path where the file has been downloaded. So here, this is the file that I have downloaded, the Kali Linux 2021.1 VBox AMD 64. So I'll just click on it and then open. So it'll be here, and then click on next, and then you can see there are different details here. So and then there's nothing much to change. You can change the USB controller sound card. So this is taking the check mark from this disables the USB access to the operating system. I mean the virtual box operating system. So just let it be. It don't go to make any changes. So let's just click on import. Also, this is a license agreement. I just click on agree, and then it will start importing virtual disk image. So you can see here it's starting the import option. So this also will take a little bit of time. So you'll have to wait until it completes. So it's almost at 99%. So yeah, the import of the Kali Linux version has been completed. So once it has been imported, you can there will be an option like this. So it will display the name of the OS that you have imported. So it's just not limited to Linux that you can install on VirtualBox. You can also install the OVA formats of Mac OSs, Windows. So you can also install many different versions of Windows in the virtual machines. So that'd be like Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. So you can do run a lot of different operating systems using the the virtual machine. So that is the main advantage of virtual machines. You can just use different operating systems on one host machine or one system. So once it has been installed, you can see here there's a take snapshot option. So this is what I had explained. So you can disaster recovery. So you can just take a snapshot of the once you have started working, and then save it, give it a name, and then click on OK. It'll give a snapshot of such. So if you want to restore it, you will have to. So this is the current state, so that you are using. So let's say this current state has been corrupted, or some issue has happened, and then you're not able to run the operating system. So you can just go back and click on the snapshot one, and then click on restore option. So clicking on restore, it will go back to the snapshot version of the operating system that you had saved, and then here click on properties. Sorry, yeah. So click on settings. So here there will be different settings that you will have to change, according to your system specifications. So here shade clipboard and drag and drop option. So to copy from your host machine to the virtual box, you will have to keep this option as bidirectional. So that will be by default. and then description. Then there is a disk encryption option. It's better not to enable this. And then system. So this is the main part. Here in my system, I have 8 GBs of RAM. So you can allot how many GBs of RAM you want to give it into the operating system or the virtual machine. So let's say because I have 8 GBs, I'll give as much as 3 GB for this RAM capability. And then the processor. So I have 4 CPUs. So you can give how many CPUs you want to for the virtual machine. So it's always better, to give equal opportunities, or equal hardware capability for both OS machine OS and the host OS and the virtual machine OS. And then acceleration, don't make any changes to it. And then display. So there is nothing much to be changed here. Storage. So just let's just keep this all as default as it is. And then network. So when it comes to network, you have to enable this option, enable network adapter, and then attach to NAT network. So there are different network options here. So if you know it, then you can use those. So but then I prefer, I suggest that you don't change this option here and keep it to NAT. And then serial ports, so you can enable or disable them. And then USB, so you want to do different changes, shared folders, and then user interface. So mainly the main changes that you will have to do is in the system option. So that is, assigning the RAM or and the processor capability for the virtual machine. So once you have done all the settings, you can just click on OK. So I don't want to save this one, so I just click on cancel. So once it's done, or you can just click on the start button. So start button is like you are turning on that operating system, the Kali Linux operating system. You don't have to do anything on these pages. So this is just Kali loading. Loading of the operating system takes a little bit of time depending on your hardware support. So if you have an SSD installed, then it will take a quicker time, and then if there is no SSD, it might take a little bit more time while the Kali opens. So here, this will be the initial login page for the Kali operating system. So you can see there are different options here. So let's just not go over it. So here, because it's showing as a small screen, I'll just tell you. You have to go to View option and then click on Full Screen. So that will give a full screen mode. So let's just I'll do it after some time. So here the username and password. So don't worry that you don't have a username and password. So the default username and password for Kali is Charlie, and then so all in small letters. So KALI. So that's the username, and as well as the password is also the same thing. So that is KALI, Kali and Kali. Yes. So once you log in, you can see that the page has come as a full screen, as a normal screen. So let's just take some time to load complete page. Let's just wait for it. So this is the basic, the window of the Kali desktop or the home screen. So here you can see there's a small dragon icon. So that's the Kali logo. So if you click on it, it will behave as a menu option that you have on Windows. It's the same thing. You can see there are a lot of pre-built tools, or pre-installed tools for ethical hacking, or those kind of stuff. So they are also mentioned, or categorized into different groups. So the first one will be information gathering, the vulnerability analysis, web application analysis. So there are different options. So all these tools, the usage of these tools or how to use these tools will be taught by us, in the training period. So let's just get back to the PPT. Yeah. So we have seen So we have seen the installation of VirtualBox and Kali Linux. Let's just head to the next part. So let's say what is Kali Linux. Kali Linux is an open source Debian-based Linux distribution aimed at advanced penetration testing and security auditing. So as I had mentioned, the different distributions of Linux. So the first one was Debian. So Kali Linux is a Debian-based Linux distribution. So this operating system is mostly preferred by ethical hackers or security researchers or even black hat hackers for performing their penetration testing or to perform any hacking activities. And also security auditing also can be done using the Kali Linux operating system. So this is a very useful tool. It can be used in many different ways. So you always be aware of your actions and before you perform anything. So let's see what is Linux shell. The shell is a command interpreter. So Linux operating system, it has a GUI, so that is graphical user interface like Windows. But then most of the commands that we run in Linux will be using the terminal, so which is using the Linux shell. So it is a program that executes other programs. So that is the Linux shell. It provides the computer user an interface to Linux system so that the user can run different commands or utilities or do some input data. So next, let's see what a terminal is. So the terminal is an interface in which you can type and execute text-based commands. So the terminal, I'll just show it on the operating system. So here, if you can see, there's a small black box on the icon on the taskbar. So that is the terminal. So if you want to click on it, the terminal will be open. So this is similar to the CMD that is there in Windows operating system. So this is a terminal page where you will have to type in commands and run different commands in order to perform different activities. So it allows access to many more commands and scripts. So as I mentioned, Linux, once you are used to it, there will be a lot of commands that will be using to run different scripts and different options. So a common terminal task of installing an application can be achieved within a single command. So installing an application or running an application in Linux operating system, you can do it either by the normal method, that is how you install or run an application in Windows, or else you can also do it with a single command, which you enter on the in the terminal page. So let's see what are the different basic Linux commands. So root. So the root is the username or account that by default has access to all commands and files on the Linux or other Unix-like operating system. So how there is an administrator in the Windows operating system. So similarly there is root. But the difference here is root has complete access to the Linux operating system, whereas the administrator has there will be a few restrictions that will be provided by the Microsoft even for the administrator. But in root, it's not like Windows. So there, it has a complete access over the operating system. So let's say, since if you remember, when I was logging into the operating system, I had used the username and password as Kali and Kali. So Kali and Kali is the standard user login credentials. So if you want to log in as a root or a root user, then you will have to use the username as root, and then password will be root. If not, if the root is not working, then you will have to use the username root and then Kali. So I prefer, I suggest you guys not to log in as a root user since it has complete access to all the commands. So a small mistake also can crash your operating system. So it's always better to log in as a standard user, that is Kali and Kali, and then you can upgrade or give the super user permission or take the root permission using the terminal. So I'll just explain it how. So the super user is nothing but the administrator for Kali operating system. So here you have to type in a command. So SU, that is super user or switch user. So the command will be like sudo run the single command with root privileges. So if you want to get into the root, run the command as a root user, then you will have to type in the command sudo su sudo space su. So that is super user, and then type press enter. I'll just show it on the page. So here this is Kali at Kali. You can see here. So this is a normal standard user login. So let's say I want to take the super user access. So I will type in sudo and then su. So we'll give you a warning as well. So we trust you have received the usual lecture from the local system administrator. Usually boils down to these three things. So respect the privacy of others, being properly utilized, with great power comes great responsibility. So and then it'll ask for password for Kali. So this is the same password that you will use to log in for Kali. So just type in KALI. So don't worry that it's not you're not being able to see the password, so it's invisible type kind of. So once you type in Kali and press enter, it automatically you will have the access. So you just have to make sure that the password is typed correctly. So once you press enter with the correct password, you can see the name has been changed to root at Kali. So now you have a root user permission without actually logging in as a root user. So this is what is called as switching user or super user permission taking by using the command line. So next, let's see what is the cd command. So to navigate through the Linux files and directories. So the files and directories. So directories is nothing but it's a different name when you use a Linux operating system. The folders which you specify in Windows, it's called as directories in Linux operating system. So to navigate through the files and directories, you have to use the command cd. So it requires either the full path or the name of the directory depending on the current working directory that you are in. So in order to go into a different directories, we have to type in the full command or go one by one. So let's say you are in the directory home, username and document, and then you want to go to the photos or subdirectory of documents. So to do this, we have to simply type in the following command cd photos. So if you want to switch to a completely new directory, for example, home, username, and then movies, in this case, you will have to type in cd and then followed by cd home, username, and movies. So I'll just show you a demo of it. So for clearing the screen, you can type in clear and you press enter. So it will remove all the previous commands. So let's say So here, if you type in ls, so this is for listing the files that you're, from the directory you are currently in. So this is the directory that I am currently based on. So that is home and Kali. So inside Kali, these are the different folders that are present. So that is desktop, documents, downloads, music. So let's say I want to go into the desktop option. So I type in cd and then desktop. There is an autocomplete option in Linux. So if you press on tab, it will complete the sentence. So and also this is a case sensitive command line interface. So if there is a capital letter in the name or on the directory name, you will have to type it as it is. So once you have typed in cd desktop, you can just press enter and then it will change the directory you are in. So you can see here previously we were in home and Kali and now we are inside home, Kali and desktop. So this is the use of cd command. So let's say you have to move into the music folder. So how you can do it directly from here. So you can give in cd and then the path, the complete path. And then after Kali, here previously we were in home and Kali, so we will have to type in that. But after Kali, we pressing CD desktop, so which enabled us to move into the desktop folder. But instead of desktop, we can give in music and then enter, which will take us to the music path, music directory directly. So this is the continuation of CD command. So CD with two dots is to move one directory up or one directory behind. So if you type in CD, only CD, it will go straight to the home folder, and then CD hyphen to move to your previous directory. So I'll just show you an example. So here we were in home and Kali, and now we are in the music path, music directory. So let's say you want to come back out of the music directory. So how do you do it? Here you will have to type in CD and space and then two dots. Press enter. So now you can see you have come out of the music directory and you are in the Kali directory. So this is how you come back. So if you type in once again, you come back to the home folder, and then if you type in once again, you come back to the null folder. Let's see what happens if you try to go back one more step. So nothing happens here. So let's say you want to go back to the same path. So you have to type in cd home, and then there's an auto complete option. So there are the command which you had typed previously, so that will be displayed with a light gray color. So if you want to type in the same command, you can just click on the arrow marks. So that those are the left, right, top, the left and right arrow marks. So here, if you type in, click on the right arrow mark here on the keyboard, it will complete the command, and then you can remove or alter however you see fit. So I'll just go into the Kali folder, Kali directory. So we are back into the Kali directory. Let's just clear the screen. So the next command is pwd. To know which directory you are in, you can use the pwd command. It gives us the absolute path, which is the path that starts from the root. So here, let's say I'll go into the desktop folder. So current, if we type in pwd, it will display the, no, it's basically the same path which is displayed on the top. It will be displaying on a different line here. So by using the pwd command, you will be able to get to know in which directory you are currently in. So that is home, Kali, and then desktop. So the ls command to know what files are in the directory you are in. So let's say you are inside the desktop directory, and then you want to see what are the different files that are inside the desktop directory. To know that, you have to type in the ls command. So by default, this command will display the contents of your current working directory. So if you want to see the content of other directories, type in ls and then the directories path. For example, enter ls and then home username documents. So let's say you are inside the desktop directory, but then you want to see the files that are inside the documents directory. You can just type in this command ls space forward slash home forward slash username slash the forward slash and then documents. The path of the directory you want to check. So let's see an example here. So let me just give an ls on the Kali folder, Kali directory itself. So we can see these are the different directories inside the Kali option, or the Kali user. So this is actually Kali is the username. So how in the Windows you have different usernames like user administrator or the different usernames that you change into. This is the same thing. Since if you remember when we log in, I had typed in Kali and Kali as username and password. So this is the username. So inside the Kali username, these are the different folders. So let me just create different folders so that it will be easier to explain. Inside downloads, let's create a folder. Inside that we'll create go back to the terminal. Here, let's say I created the folder inside downloads. So let's traverse in the downloads folder. See downloads. We are inside the download. So now we want to check what are the different folders or the directories or files that are available. So you have to type in ls. So that will give you the folder or the directory that is present, that is hello. So we'll go inside the hello directory. So again, if you want to check what are the files or directories inside, type in ls. So you can see test.txt. So for directories, the color will be different. So that is how we can differentiate between directories and files. So Here, the directories will be in a blue color and then files will be displayed in uh, white color font. So let's say you are inside hello and this is a file, but then you want to check the files inside pictures folder. You can just create a folder here, create a folder, pick, pick. So I'll just type in ls Kali pictures. So you can see, even though I'm inside the downloads and hello directory, we are able to check what are the files or directories present inside the pictures folder. So that is by typing the command ls and then the path we want to check for. That is how ls command can be used. So this is just a basic command. There are different options. There are different options that can be added for the ls command for checking different options inside a directory. So which will be again taught in the training with us. So as I mentioned, there are different shortcuts or different options that can be used along with ls command. So here ls minus r will list all the files in the subdirectories as well. So let's say inside downloads folder there are different directories and inside a directory there are files. So if you want to list them out, then you can just type in ls minus r and then ls minus a will show the hidden files. So, if there are any files that are hidden inside the directory, when you normally go visit the file directory, you can't see a file. So, if you want to check if there are any hidden directories, you can go into the terminal, type in ls minus a, and then give the path of it. So ls minus al or hyphen al will list the files and directories with detailed information like the permissions, size, owner, etc. So how the information will be displayed in Windows for the files and folders. So it's the same thing if you type in ls minus al in the terminal, we will list out all these options or details. So next command, the basic command will be mkdir and then the directory name. So this command will create a new directory provided it doesn't exist. In the following example, we will create a new directory called as example. So example will be the directory name. So in order to create a directory using the command line, we will have to type in mkdir and example. So let's just switch into Kali. Previously, I had manually created a folder, the directory by going into the different directories. So I have come to the Kali, the username, user directory. So let's give in ls. You can check there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 directories present currently. Let's just create a new directory that is mkdir and then the name will be example. Press in enter. So there is no error messages and successful command executing. So we'll type in ls again. Now you can see here there's a new directory that has been created, that is example. So for we will just check it. So cd example. So yeah, we are inside the example directory. So pwd. You can see here we are inside the home Kali and then example directory. This is how you create directories. So mkdir hyphen p. So this command will create a listed directory. For example, here if you given the command as mkdir hyphen p space and then example hello and world. So in this example, world directory is created inside the directory hello and hello is created inside the directory example. So it's like a nested directory that we will be creating. So instead of going into a directory and then right clicking and creating a new folder manually, which takes a lot of time, you can just type it using this command and then create n number of directories as you wish. The next command is rmdir. So mkdir would stand for make directory. So rmdir, just like an idea, is a small idea of what this command might do. So that is removing the directory. So this command will remove or delete an existing directory. In the following example, we will remove or delete an existing directory. That is example. So example of the directory that we created using the mkdir command. So now we'll just delete that directory. So here we just give it ls. So as you can see, there is an example directory here. Let's just remove it by typing in the command rmdir and then example. Press enter. There is no error, so that the successful execution. Let's just see if it has been removed or not by using the ls command. So you can see there is again the 8 folders are present and the example folder has been removed. So rm minus r, that is the next command. So this command deletes the directory recursively along with its content. So what happens is, I just show you guys. So remember we had created different folders inside the download directory and different directories inside the download directories. So I'll just go into the downloads. You can see because there are two different directories with the same starting letters or the same starting two letters. Since I have typed in cd do and then I press in tab for autocomplete, so it will actually show you the different options that are available for autocompleting. So here you can either select one of those. So I'll just type in w and then tab, so that will complete the downloads option and then enter. So I'm inside the downloads folder where there's a hello. So I'll just type in rmdir and then hello. You can see there is an error message. So rmdir colon failed to remove hello because the directory is not empty. So let's go into the hello directory ls. So you can see there is a test.txt file. So that is the reason the command failed to remove the hello because the directory is not empty. So you can either come inside the directory and then manually delete the files and then go back, or else you can also use a different command. So that is rm minus r and then hello of the directory name. Yeah. So type in click on enter. There is no error this time. So let's just check if there is the hello directory is present or not. So ls, it's empty. Since the directory download directory is empty, it's not displaying anything. So that means if you can see here on the download directory when I did sorry, yeah. So on the downloads directory, when I type in ls command, it displayed the directory which is present, that is hello. The same thing now, we are inside the downloads directory. I type in ls and it's there's the blank space or nothing has been displayed. So that means we were successfully able to remove the hello directory even though there are files inside it. So that is rm minus r command. So that'll be all for the basics of Kali Linux. So these are the different, just one of very few basic commands that we have shown. So once you join the training, because you'll be able to learn a lot more and we'll be teaching you a lot more. So thank you guys.